little break from the Jaguar and play with the race car. So last time out in our little race car we had a little bit of an accident. It's alright, I cleaned all of it off, you can't tell one bit. However, when they tried to pull us out of the tyre wall, there was a little crunch as they went onto this towing eye and tried to pull us out. So I think there's some, and you can probably tell by how kind of chewed up all this is. So we think there's some not very nice rust underneath here. So let's dig in and have a look. Ah, sheared rusty bolts. I really don't like the look of what's behind there. Don't you just love undoing bolts that you've already replaced with stainless? Ah, bliss. That's my mate Nibbles, by the way. He's not very happy with me at the minute, as yeah, it was me that crashed our car. Okay. Obviously this reinforcement bar is way past it. We were hoping we could repair it, but this is just far too gone. So we'll just have to buy a new one. Discontinued? Okay, one from a breakers then. How much? Well, luckily I managed to find one that was almost perfect, just a couple of areas that need attention, for only 260 quid. And here it is. I know it may look pretty horrible, but well, yeah, it is pretty horrible. But we can still use this. The mounting points of the car are all good and strong. The towing eye down here is nice and strong as well. It's straight where it needs to be straight and it's bent where it needs to be bent. The indicator positions are all in the right place. So really it just needs a bit of cutting away a load of the grot, welding in a little bit more steel. It lives under the car, well, hidden away at least, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So I'm going to give it a go. Why do I think I can give it a go? Well, I've welded once before and I've watched a lot of Project Binky, so how hard could it be? For this job I think we got all we need. We've got our grinder with associated parts, we've got metalworking file, PPE, our trusty hammers, we've got a bender. Don't ask me why I've got this, I just had it for another project. What else we've got? Oh yeah, our handy little magnetic doodah. Importantly, we have here some steel. No Rolf Harris jokes. Welder, lent to me by a mate. Thank you, Owen. I know you've only lent it to me because your fiance has asked you not to keep it in the flat, but yeah, thank you anyway. We've got our trusty cardboard for making templates, and our branded cup of tea. I've already, as you've probably seen, had a little go on the back side here. There was just a little bit of surface rust, so ground that away, gave her a quick bit of primer to cover that up. So our next job really is to have a look at which bits we want to keep and which bits we are just going to chop out and not replace. Jokes. The MR2 bumpers are quite an interesting design. So they have an outer skin, which is the colour coded part. There's then a foam insert and then our reinforcement bar behind that, and that skin effectively is held taut by a couple of bolts and captive threads to keep him nice and taut and bumper shaped. However, of course, not only is this thing horrible and rusty, but also the bits and pieces, and that one's sheared, you can see, that pin the skin nice and taut, are also horrible. So not only have we got to fix this one, but we've also got to fix these. Well, I had to give Nibbles one job, didn't I? We were talking earlier about the captive nuts that hold the bumper skin on. So we've got one here, and yeah, there ain't one there, but we need to put him back. So the issue that we've got with this one at the minute, if I was to just chop out all that horrible grot, I wouldn't have a reference height, because this bit here is at a different height to this bit here. So I think what we're going to have to do is chop this down but leave some of this horrible grot in, put a new plate across from here to here so that we've got the correct height, and then we can chop out some of this bottom grot and build up to that. As you can see, it snowed since the last time we got to play out here, but yeah, that's what you got to do playing with stupid old cars. So now that we've cut all this horrible grot out, we can use our trusty card to make us a card template. So now we've got our piece cut up and ready to get bent up, it's time to play with the bender. Now the first time I used this, I probably did what most people did, was actually end up bending the part up the wrong way and scrapping the part. So a little tip that I've learned from doing that by mistake is to put your markings out, so you've got the lines there but not on that side. Put your lines out on the inside of the radius, so as it goes in to the bender you're going to line it up on that part, or on that line, and then the bender works by pulling it up, so that's going to bend inwards on itself. So yeah, always put your markings on that side and you won't go far wrong. Speaking of going far wrong, let's have a go. So it's all in nicely, ready to go, so let's tack her in. Hi guys, we're back inside the tin shed. Unfortunately yesterday my camera died halfway through, well I ran out of memory at least. So yeah, I didn't get to film the rest of doing this side, but needless to say, we welded them all in. Welds aren't that great, but it's not a dress part. And put this little tab here so this guy's not flapping about in the breeze. I think it's worth noting as well, when I started tacking the guys in, wearing these gloves, just rushing really, my hands started to get a bit hot, so I remembered that I needed to move on to my proper welding gloves. So yeah, those people who were watching the last clip going uh-oh, yeah, so did I. Right, so what have we done? We've chopped out some big holes. I'm not actually going to fill these holes with metal, mainly because just getting access to paint all of this guy, having some gaping big holes in there allows me just to get the brush in and or the rattle can in. So it is a reinforcement bar, it is a strengthening bar for crash impact. However, looking at the rest of the car, that tiny little hole there, I honestly don't think it's going to make a blind bit of difference if we're going to hit something. There's still some strength in the main body, so I reckon that'll be alright. Now we've done this side, which way around does this fella go? So he's alright. We can now move on to the left, which is in even worse shape. And I don't think we've really got a reference of that height. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it from all this crust and horrible rubbish that effectively just needs to be cut out. So what I'm going to do is use this height here that I've got from this side, and oh no, I can't because that's ruined. Oh. Okay, new plan. Bottom to the top. That's going to be our datum points. So let's chop out all this rubbish. Not much left. And this is all the rubbish that came out. So it needed to go. Sorry about the wind, by the way. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, now we just got to build it back up. One thing I will do, now that this is all open and exposed, is to put some rust killer in there. Just because I'm sure there's horrible stuff lurking around, so hopefully that'll just try and keep it at bay for a while. Despite the occasional storm, we finished this side. The next bit to do, so if you remember, we've put these in to get somewhere to put the captive nuts, and there's one more here that, as you can see, is all rusty and horrible around him, so we've got to put some new metal in there. Looking at it, there's a couple of strengthening, I think they're called swage lines, these sort of bulges in here. So that's actually to strengthen the sheet metal. Ideally, I'd like to keep them in if we can. So I've ground back on this guy. I'm not sure if you can see up close there. Yeah, pretty small in this little tin shed. So yeah, I've ground him back. It looked like the rust was starting to creep into that swage line. It's only a tiny little bit of surface pitting. I think we can get away with it. So I'm going to cut up as close as I can to that guy, so we can actually keep that swage in there and keep that strength, and then just chop out all this horrible stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to keep this one, but we'll do what we can. It's all painted up. I think you'll agree it's a lot better than the previous one. So it's time to get this back on the car. Before we just throw this on the car, we've got a few more fixing bits to put on it, and if you remember, we put in these plates so that we can have some captive nuts. So we've got to do some fitment before we put those captives back in, and let's see how we do that. Now that we've faffed for 20 minutes trying to get the bumper on, it's time to fix the bottom part of the bumper onto our reinforcement bar. And the way we're going to do that is using some nut certs to put those captive nuts back in. So you've probably seen these before. They're just like a little rivet but with some threading. So we just drill our holes, put that one through, clamp it down on the sheet metal, and instant captive nut. So let's give it a go. Now that we've got a hole, we'll just paint it to protect it and put the roof nuts in. Well, hey, the bumper's on, it's looking good, all nice and strong, so there's only one thing left to do. Okay, so we didn't need to go for a drive after just putting the bumper back on, but it's a fun car, so why not? So that's the end for this episode. I had a load of fun doing that. It was a bit harder than I thought, but learned a lot. Okie doke. We'll see you guys next time. If you like the video, then give us a thumbs up and have a think about subscribing. See you next time.